Good afternoon. This is the meeting of the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District's Finance and Administration Committee. It is November 6th, 2023, and it's 2 o'clock. Roll call, please. Yes.
Here.
Chair Anderson.
Here.
Director Eisenhardt is absent.
Thank you. Are there any corrections, additions?
There are none.
Okay. Do we have any public present?
We do not as of right now.
Okay, yeah, I don't see any from here. So let's move into the action items. We have the minutes of the October 5th committee meeting minutes. Any corrections or comments?
No, I move approval.
And I do as well. I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We move on to action item 2. The treasurer's report for September 2023. That's for you, Suresh?
Yes, it is, Chair. Good afternoon, committee members. So this is the treasurer's report for the month of September. 4 attachments, the exhibits. The exhibit 2A is the actual treasurer's report. It shows we started the month of September with $22.8 million in the bank. And we closed the month with $21.6 million. Fairly typical from July through November. We kind of like burn out cash flow. And that's simply because the two major sources of revenue, the property tax and the water supply charge, don't come in until December. So we're going to see a big chunk of payment in December. They'll take our balance up again. But throughout July through November, we'll just see a declining balance every month, simply because we pay out our bills but don't get to collect the water supply and property tax. Exhibit 2B and 2C are the check registers for payroll and regular disbursements. The staff note does say Exhibit 2D. It says not available. That's not the case. It is available. I think the not available word basically is from the last month's report. So we'll correct that when this report goes to the board, but the Exhibit 2D financial statements is available and attached to the report. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer that.
Through the chair, how do our rates look, or CD rates look? Any changes, or are we still ahead, or are we going back even, or should we make any changes right now?
Yeah, so 2 items or 3 items down, we will go into that in the investment report, and I will show that in detail. So that will actually give you the average CD rate as well.
Good, thank you.
I just have one question. Temporary personnel and the expenditures. Was that for September? That's the budget. Excuse me. Never mind. It was just a budget.
Yeah, that's the current fiscal year annual budget.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you. Can I have a motion?
I move approval of the item.
And I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion is passed unanimously. Let's go on to action item number 3. First quarter financial activity report.
So that'll be mine again. So that is, we concluded the quarter on September 30th. So this is the revenue and expenses for the first 3 months of the fiscal year. I've outlined the individual sections with a recap of staff's observations on the revenue side and expenses side. The exhibits, which 3A is the table itself, 3B, which is the revenue showing in the graph format, same information that's in a table. it just shows in graph format. And then 3C, which is the expenditures, that's also shown in graph format, but same information from table 3A. So I don't know if the committee members wants me to go line by line, or if my staff report is sufficient enough, or if there's any line items that you'd like me to highlight and share.
I just have one question, and it's in the revenues, it's the fifth from the bottom of that list. Interest revenues were 26,539, negative 70% of the budget. Actual interest includes accrual reversals from prior year. Could you explain that, please?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the first quarter is typical. We see that simply because what we do is when we close the fiscal year, the fourth quarter of the financial year, what we do is one of the accounting standards is that we have to recognize all of our investments in the market value position. And so all of our CDs are basically, if we were to cash out all of our CDs, we would lose some money on that simply because buy and sell, if you sell them today, the CDs are not worth that much because of the interest rates. And so the market value is not great on the CDs. So we have to recognize what's called the loss and gain. So we are basically recognizing the loss, and then we have to reverse that the first quarter, because it's basically just a paper transaction. At the end of the fiscal year, we have to recognize the fair market value of the investments. Then we have to reverse that next quarter, and then end of the quarter, this fiscal year, we'd have to recognize the fair market value again, depending on where the market value of those CDs are. So that's where most of those negative numbers come from, because of the recognition of the fair market value for the CDs.
Thank you. So any other questions on
Yeah,
this?
yeah, on page 21, under personnel and the variance, that 212.72.
Yep.
Why is that bracket out?
So what happens is July, we have to pay a lump sum to PERS, which is the unfunded liability. It's about to the tune of about $500,000 to $600,000. So we paid out on July 1. It's the bill for the entire year. But if we paid on July 1, we save about 7% in interest. That ends up being about $20,000 or $30,000. So we have to pay it on July 1, and then as the month goes on, the quarters goes on, that's how it's recognized. So you'll see a negative value for the first month because we've already paid out almost $500,000 of a $4 million total budget line personal fall. So that's why you'll see a negative variance, but it gets eaten away every month. When you get to the quarter 4, it neutralizes by itself. Basically, the expenditure meets the budgeted amount.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I'm approval.
Okay, I second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously approved. And one more for Suresh, first quarter fiscal year investment report.
Yes, and this is where Director Edwards' questions or concerns would get answered. So this is the first quarter, again, investment report. Our district's investment policy requires that the board of directors receive and approve a report every quarter. And so this report suffices there. This is for the quarter ending September 30th. The actual investment report, which is the Exhibit 4A, if you look, local agency investment funds giving us about 3.59% interest rate. But again, that's for the quarter, not for the annual year. And then all of the CDs, as you can see, the average rate on the CDs are 3.238. But keep in mind, that shows or seems lower, but that's been like that constantly for the last several years, whereas LAIF amount has not been that great. So now LAIF is slowly catching up. But as you see towards the bottom part of the CD investments, you'll see there are some high yield interest rate investments now like 5%, 4.9%. So the interest rate market is on the upside, and so all of the investments, the CDs that gets renewed, they are all getting higher yields. So that all ends up being better than LAIF, because LAIF is just a short-term. I mean, it's not short-term, but it's basically based on long-term interest rates. So it takes a while for the interest rate to go up for LAIF. But then also on the good side, it does take a while for it to go down. So let's just say if the interest rate market was totally collapsed today, the LAIF rate would still stay up for at least 1 to 2 quarters, or maybe 3 quarters before it starts going down. So that's the kind of like give or take for the LAIF, is that takes a long time to go up, and then also takes a little bit time to go down. But on the CD investment, that's kind of like pretty much stable, constant. I mean, you get that rate of return almost year in, year out.
It just looks like that the 2021 and 2021 and some of the 2022 were below or at 1.5%, but all the ones since then are much higher, which is
Right.
very nice when the market went up.
Yeah, exactly. If you go to the kind of near the very bottom of the interest-bearing certificate
Yeah.
of deposit, those are 5-year that we just bought in August at 4.9, and the one in July at 5.0. But you just go up about 10 and you look at the ones purchased in 2021, those are also 5-year, 1.05.
Mhm.
So to your point, we're in a much stronger interest rate environment.
Good.
And some of
Right,
the- Yeah.
and just to cap it up on that discussion, when we were getting those CDs, the 5-year CDs at 1%, keep in mind the LAIF was yielding about 0.3% at that time, or 0.4%. So it was
Right.
very, very.
Yeah, and there's some actually pretty large ones, 4.8 and so forth, for the first 5 CDs purchased in 2022. Those are 1 years, but they're pretty high.
Yep.
Comparatively, which is nice.
All right,
Any other questions or comments?
no questions. I move approval.
I second. So in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody here. Approved unanimously.
Okay, this next item, I think, is just a repeat of action we already took at our
Yeah.
previous meeting.
Yeah, I think.
It just didn't make it to the full board because of that blown up meeting. So, and I don't think there's any changes in this. It's the same salary range. You don't know anything, right, Maureen? Yeah. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah,
All right,
so we can skip that item 5.
I
Okay,
move approval to that one.
so we've already proved it, I guess?
It was
We did.
approved and
It was approved.
it was on the full board agenda for the meeting that got canceled.
Yeah, okay, so we can turn the page 37, action
So you don't have to
items.
take any action on it?
No.
Again, okay.
Yeah, don't we want to just recommend that the item be, the Financial Administrative Committee recommended the item be moved to the board?
Well, they did that at the last Finance and Administration Committee meeting.
Oh,
So,
right, I see what you mean, yeah, the previous.
Yeah, so it got through committee, but it didn't get through the board.
Right.
Board was canceled because we
Yeah,
didn't
and
have,
nothing has
Yeah.
changed since then, correct?
Good.
Yeah,
oh,
but it was right.
meeting-
Rest assured, the minutes reflect that it was passed. So the minutes. Yeah,
If the title was changed, just for the safe side of it, move approval of it.
meter program coordinator, that's what was changed. Okay,
If the title, whatever,
well,
well,
I agree with you.
I move,
Okay,
I move the approval. So you could,
whether we need it or not, we've got it.
yeah.
there you go.
Aye. Action item 6,
Do you know?
maintenance and servicing.
Would you please explain this one?
Oh, yeah, so everybody can see and they know you did it.
Yes, we have control valves at the aquifer storage and recovery facility that need maintenance every 5 years, and we've just come up on that 5-year mark. The total cost that includes tax and a small 10% contingency covers the Clay Val authorized representative to come up here and do annual preventative or 5-year preventative maintenance on 4 of those valves. Are there any questions?
Now, Cal-Am don't take care of this, or these are valves, or
They have,
Reimburse us,
Yeah.
they, okay. Okay,
and we're better managing the consultants that come in.
okay, we'll manage it, make sure that everything is done. And this every 5 years. Okay.
Any questions?
Same company? Is this the same company that been doing it every 5 years, or do we go out to bid?
no, these are Clay Val authorized representatives. I don't believe you have the option to go out to bid.
I see an estimate here. Yeah,
It's
okay.
from Clay Val.
So they've been doing the work the past 5 years, or,
That is my understanding. They manufacture the valve. So they're the maker of the valve and they're going to do the warranty. If you have somebody else, you can void it. Plus, we're under the public bid amount requirement.
okay, now I see, looking at their bid right here, I see a pre-tax of $6,852 on that page back there. Now I look at our page, 8,100. Where's the difference coming from? Are we putting some in a contingency, or are we looking at a higher tax bill on that?
Put in tax into the 8,100 and additionally a 10% contingency for things we don't know what they're going to find when they open it up.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So,
May I have a motion?
no, I'll sit with this and find out how much they use in contingency. And if I had the last bid for the last 5 years, I'd probably look and see any difference.
Yeah, I think the contingency is ours. Oh, you mean historically what they
Yeah,
used? I'm sure we
yeah.
can look that up.
Cause,
I'm sure we can look that up.
okay, well, y'all find out just for me, you don't have to do it now, but just to see, cause y'all can look at it and see, if they giving us a nice low bid and then coming back and taking it back in contingency.
Yes, sir.
So that's all I want to know. That's all the questions I got. I'm glad y'all put the bid in here.
And when do you want to see that?
Oh, no, we can move to approval.
Okay,
Just in the future, I'd just like to look at something like that, or y'all could tell me, I might pull it at the board meeting, be prepared. I might not, just,
okay. May I have a motion?
I move to approve.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, oh yeah,
Madam Chair,
hello?
this is item 7. Consider recommendation to the board to fund rebates in the California American Water System between January 1st, 2024 and the availability of funding from the general rate case that's pending right now. The district's rebate program is primarily funded by customer collections that are renewed as part of the Cal-Am general rate case. And that occurs every 3 years. The current rate case ends December 31st of this year. And right now we are in a place where we're pending a final decision on the 2024 to 26 general rate case, which was filed in July of 2022. So it takes a long time to get through this process. Rather than shutting down the rebate program and losing the momentum that we currently have, staff's requesting that the board authorize advance funding from the general reserve fund to continue the program until CalAm's able to fund it in the GRC. The GRC contains $1.1 million for funding our rebate program for the next 3 years. And so what we would be doing is front funding until CalAm's able to pay us back for the rebates that we've funded. There's a very slight chance that this would not be approved as part of the general rate case, although we have done this front funding for the last 3 GRCs. So the staff is looking for the Finance and Administration Committee to recommend that the board approve interim funding up to $200,000 through June of 2023 for the rebate program using the general reserve fund. Do you have any questions?
Why are we saying from June 2023? We
2024, sorry, 2024.
Okay, so you're about to stop me. GM, or Mr. Laredo. Are we coming into a problem with this? If we do it and they come back and sit up there and say, no, I don't think we'll do it this year. Are we?
Well, we've already contacted CalAm, so they are supportive of our refunding. They're aware of the situation, and the only reason that they would not pay our invoices would be because it doesn't get approved in the GRC. But the conservation budget has been approved in all previous ones, and I don't see any reason that they would not fund this one. But there is a slight chance.
Could we consider approving it to, let's say, half that amount and then see what the outcome of the general rate case?
So what I'm proposing is funding through June, and then as we get to that point, if they still haven't gotten a draft decision, then we might come back and see about funding beyond that. But we do go through the money. So, I mean, we do a lot of business with our rebate program. We had to shut it down one time because of this kind of situation. And it took us almost a year and a half to get it back up and running at the level that we are right now. So, you know, we really don't want to shut it down, knowing that this 1.1 million is in the budget for CalAm.
And the 1.1 is over a 3-year period. So what we're
Okay.
really talking about pre-funding is 1/6 of that, 6 months of a 3-year ask. And the reason it gets caught up in this is they do it through a surcharge.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get approvals for their interim rate step, it's just on rates. So they get inflation on rates, but not on surcharges. So the surcharges are just held in abeyance until there's an approval. So,
Okay,
but her point is, when we've stopped it in the past, it's taken forever to get it restarted, and people kind of forget about it, and we just lose our customers.
Interesting.
oh, we don't have an estimate of what we spend every 6 months, do we? Or every 3 months? It's 200,000? Okay. Okay, and this is going to the full board anyway, right? As an action item. I move approval, and I guess we'll discuss it at the full board.
I second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved, and we'll, as you say, talk about it at the board if we need to. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
The next 2 items are informational only. Unless you have questions, we can go straight to the board agenda. There are some things I want to highlight. We have,
One question. I have one question.
yeah,
On exhibit 9A. I think I've seen this before, but I never have known what it is. What is legal assistance Oderman?
oh, so Jeff Otterman was one of our special counsel at Rutan and Tucker,
Okay.
but then he retired and he became a very expensive paralegal under a separate contract, which was to carry us through the resolution of necessity. And so he's now indicated that his time with us is over. So that item will go away, but yeah, it was a separate contract.
So he's not working with us anymore.
No, not. Yep, he just announced.
And he's been, there are no bills coming.
Great, thank
All
you.
paid for good.
Okay. I had nothing else.
Yeah, he'll be doing what we all should be doing, traveling.
Dangle that in front of me. Okay. So
So the agenda,
Yeah.
want to highlight a few things. We have
Mhm,
3 closed session items,
mhm.
but it's really 5 in that CS2 has 3 matters.
Yeah,
But CS1, we will have available Edward Schexnader, who's our special counsel on the LAFCO proceeding.
good.
You all saw that we had a
Mhm.
favorable
Mhm.
preliminary decision.
Yeah,
So he'll apprise us how the process works and what we should expect. And you can ask a few questions. I know that there's been discussion about the need to go back to LAFCO. High degree of likelihood the judge will remand it back to LAFCO, so it wouldn't be our choice to file a new application. But you will discuss things like whether to reopen the record or not, and pros and cons and those kind of things. So that's the first item. The second item was written this way when we actually had 3 items. But we can fill it. We actually have 4 items.
Jeez.
We have the filing of the eminent domain proceeding. We have the rate case. There's a settlement conference tomorrow, I believe, on the rate case. I just noticed that our meeting to discuss the settlement under the ASR 1 dispute may have just been canceled.
It's been
Rescheduled.
proposed to be rescheduled to either December 7 or December 14.
Yep, so that may not have anything to talk about. And then we have the phase 2 of the Pure Water Monterey Water Purchase Agreement proceeding, which is the supply and demand. So among those 4, we'll find 3 to talk about. Oh, yeah. That was one of the original reasons to do this. Yep,
That's for Marina Coast, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a request from the city of Marina and Marina Coast to participate by filing an amicus.
A letter in support of their
Actions
actions for
for-
reconsideration.
Yeah,
yeah, the special district dinner, they spoke on it a little bit and asked, I don't know if it's past due or was due, y'all need to check, because they was worried we didn't get it out because, our meeting got canceled, so.
right. Well, there were 2 things going on. One is they wanted us to help with a filing over the appeal of the county permits to the air board over the air permits. And we said that's not really our battle. And the other is this amicus brief.
And the proper timing on an amicus or a request, a letter in support of the appeal is after the appeal has been filed.
Okay,
So they're on the clock to file the appeal. We should see what they're filing on the grounds and how they state it before we commit to a letter that says, yes, we agree.
okay, well, I know the chair probably would, and vice chair probably tell y'all to move on it or look at it or get the information so we be on time with it. So if they want us to do it, so
Yeah, I think we have time to get that direction.
good.
The third item is the chance to discuss how we'll do the performance appraisal. Materials will be ready for those who want to do it physically. Otherwise, we'll send you electronic version after the meeting. And then I want to highlight a couple of things. The item 11 is what Stephanie just talked about, and you had said it'll be on the board agenda, so it is an action item. Item 12, there will be more detail in the staff note. We don't have budgeted requests, but we know we will need services. They're all the same consultants we've used previously. So you'll get a breakdown of proposed budget and who's doing what, but
Okay.
when we file that eminent domain proceeding, that's when the doors get opened for discovery, site visits, depositions. We can benefit from just having some all hands meetings where you may recall that our investment bankers worked on the Missoula project.
Yeah.
Our utility consultant worked on Missoula and Apple Valley. And so they've got pretty good insight to the way the games have been played. And then our financial people worked on Bullhead City, which so if you follow the attorneys for the opposition, we have two attorneys we're up against, and every letter we've gotten lately from George Sonif says we are co-counsel with Baker Donaldson. Baker Donaldson is Joe Connor out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Connor was involved in the Missoula project. Sonif was involved in South San Joaquin, Apple Valley. So we're going to see a lot of the same faces. The appraisal for Bullhead City was done by one of the two firms that American Water likes to work with. So we need to get our team back together, put the band back together, if you will, to just debrief on these experiences so we can kind of prepare, and then also to talk about what we should be trying to get through discovery. One of the things that I know we're going to come up against is this system. Remember how complex it is? And they told us
Yes,
it's a
they
very
did.
complex system.
Couldn't possibly run it.
Exactly.
Either can they.
It'll take, careful, Josh is on. They'll try to limit the amount of time we have to do condition assessment and so forth. And so we need to talk through all those issues.
So I don't know if I can ask this, what is legal as far as controlling the amount of time? Well,
that's where attorneys get very creative. In Apple
Okay.
Valley, they held off the site visit all the way to a week before the depositions. And some of the depositions are debriefing the expert witness on the conditions. And so, there's very little time to really make a full assessment. And so, we just need to
it's a struggle.
chat about those experiences and how we might counter them and, what we need to do.
And we
So,
have information.
yeah. And I think, hey, Suresh, we're almost out of budget on Rutan and Tucker anyway, aren't we?
Yes, I want to say we had that report.
Oh, yeah, it's in the,
Yeah, so
Today?
so the eminent, we've only got like about $2,000 on the previous budget.
yeah. And so, they're in the heavy drafting phase right now. So we know we'll get a fix.
So, you saying 400,000?
And I will give you more detail on what it might be used for
Okay,
in the staff.
but what I'm trying to make sure when you do this, you give us a full number. Don't throw a contingency in it,
No,
because I know y'all will eat through that. I want a full number. If it's 5, if it's 6, and you got to go back to Rutang and Tucker again.
Yep.
Put it all in this right now, so when we talk about this, the public know it's all of it.
If I could, we are not totally in charge of all the effort that needs to be expended. And it depends on what opponents tactics might be. And all we can do is project the plan of action as we see. There will be, not in the contingency, but there will be adjustments to that depending on
Wow,
where we go.
that's where I'm going. If you tell me 500, that's when you look at how they're gonna play it. I like to tell the public, well, at the end of this thing, we got you 100,000, 200,000 back. But I don't want my opinion, just direct Edwards coming back and forth. We need more money, all those reports that we undone and paid for.
But by way of example, if I may.
Yeah,
There's an opportunity that when you're in court, that you can seek intermediate appellate relief. So you just don't know if the other side is going to go to the appellate court to ask for some action. And it's.
well, I know they're gonna go to appellate court on one thing.
Yeah, but on the entirety of it, yes, that's a possibility. But there are what they call interlocutory decisions on discovery and else they could be appealed as well. So you just don't know how heavily it's going to be contested.
Well, I just want you to put enough money to get started and make it affect that when this stuff started happening, you don't have to keep coming back to the board.
Right.
Because they're saying nickel and dime to me now. That's what I probably would say. So you throw enough in there, 400,000, if it goes up to 600,000. We're saying we got enough money to take care of this and don't want the public worried. Well, we gave them 400,000, now they want more. So y'all just need to be. Might be more and I could justify more, just so we don't come back to the public and say, okay,
That's fair.
we gave them 4 and they got to redo everything.
Well, the
You come
board-
back and ask for another 5.
The board packet will go out on Wednesday or Thursday, right, Sarah? So probably Thursday. Oh, right.
It's a holiday
Yeah, Veterans Day.
this week?
Yes.
So if there's another 200,000 that shows up,
Hey,
be-
just be able to justify it, I'll stick behind it. Because I don't want us to feel like,
I could spend 100,000 a day.
just tell me how you're spending it and it's going for good. Because I know some of those old reports that we undone, I know you're gonna come back and say, well, I think we gotta redo that one.
Well, there's a big discussion item over a rate study and whether we actually want to adopt prospective rates or at least signal what the rates would look like. It would be the 3rd time we've done that exercise.
Well, put the money in.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a big item everybody gonna look at. So we need to get through everything so we can talk about it and get that approved.
When's the last time we did it?
We took the appraisal number and we updated based on the appraisal number. We also did a look at kind of what the point of indifference might be, where all the savings go away. And so this phase that we're in, there will be no change to the value until really until the judge rules, because we're going to say, here's our valuation based on this appraisal. And so all the savings that they've already shown would be the savings, but there are things that could come up, there.
Sure.
And as Dave points out, there will be legal games that get played. They may split the latent powers issue from the whole thing. They may go for a change in venue, all of that, which is just more ka-ching. So,
I just want you to put your nose to it and say, hey, and because I would stand behind you and say, I just don't want the public feel that every time something come up, we coming back and asking for more money. It's there. We either gonna do it or not.
Yeah.
So you might as well put that number in there.
and then we will, item 14, 13 and 14 are related.
Yeah, they were on the last one.
And I got some not so promising news from the county today. So we have 7 jurisdictions. So the 6 cities and then the unincorporated county. The 6 cities have all done their draft housing elements. There's a couple that they haven't really passed my believability test. The county has not done theirs, and they're not likely to get theirs even out on the street for another month. And then they'll submit it to the state late, probably at the end of December or in January. And then there'll be the 90-day period that the state has to comment on it before they can finalize it. So we're not going to be working with very good numbers for the unincorporated county, but there will be some numbers. The problem we have on the county's believability scale is they're putting a bunch of housing into the Highway 68 corridor, which strikes me as directly oppositional to their transportation plan. And the believability issue with Delray Oaks and Seaside, they've said, hey, there's no water available from the district, us. And therefore, they're moving an inordinate amount of housing into the old Fort Ord for Marina Coast to serve. But as soon as we get water available, and if CalAm works with us to lift the moratorium, then all bets are off. Monterey will shift back to downtown mixed-use housing. Delray Oaks, they've got a vacant lot sitting in the town that you could put, fourplex on, and they've completely taken that off the table. So we're trying to balance what's believable versus what's realistic, but we don't have any numbers for the county yet that are usable, which then impacts what happens in that phase 2 of the proceeding in front of the PUC on supply and demand. So hopefully this stuff all comes together. That scheduled when you were given dates out in May, well, I'm glad to see that now, because we may need April or May before we get good county numbers. So
I wonder if, because I've been hearing this from people that talk to me about, these building plans, saying, well, you don't have any water.
right. And the reality is that we're going through an allocation process right now that will put water into the hands of each of the jurisdictions. So if it's a renovation or an existing site with a meter, at the local level, they should be able to do the project. But if it's a large scale project like Ascent and Seaside with, over 100 new units, you got to get a meter set.
Is that the one out by Costco?
No, that's going to be a hotel and housing.
And that's
Sand City.
Sand
Sand
City,
City
yeah.
has their.
They have an
own water.
entitlement.
Yeah, they,
That looks giant.
It's big.
Is it giant?
Yeah,
It's a hotel,
hotel, but there's
some apartments.
There's supposed to be some
Condos.
apartments along I think it's the Highway 1 side of that parcel, but anyway,
Huge amount of property.
we really would like to get the county's numbers figured out. And then we've got that problem that we talked about at Water Demand Committee where, and you've now been read into this problem. When AMBAG pushed its numbers down to the sub-jurisdictions, they don't line up. And so you've got a 25-year population forecast that says, here's how many people. And then you've got a 6-cycle regional housing needs allocation. In some cities, it allocates twice as much housing than people. And in other cities, it flips it on its head. So, so there's nonsensical data out there. And so our approach right now is add them together and divide by 2. That's not really scientific, but it's, it almost yields the same result, but then that believability issue comes up where if Delray Oaks and Seaside say all their housing is going to be served by Marina Coast, we have no impact here. Well, if we're wrong, then we haven't planned for it. So we have to kind of draw a line in the middle and see what happens. So, so it'll be an interesting discussion. Probably only to me. Um,
Does it mean that
Well-
people don't actually believe that the expansion is gonna happen? What does that mean?
So the problem with the
Out of there.
expansion is, and there is no problem with the expansion, you know, the contracts are let and we're starting and it'll come online in 2 years. But Cal-Am is still promoting the desal plant as the final solution. They've got a lunch coming up next week where they're going to talk about the hurdles to, you know, Tom Rowley's group. But those hurdles are significant. And there's
Yes, they are.
an equal or more likely chance that they can't meet all those hurdles. But if their political position remains that Pure Water Monterey expansion is not sufficient, and therefore they don't participate in trying to lift the CDO, then none of these housing projects can get off the ground that are, you know, large scale raw land development because you need meters. So it's we just don't know which way they will lean, but we're going to start the process either with Cal-Am or without them midway through construction.
Okay, good, because what committee would that be going through? Water demand or water supply, because it needs to be talked about now.
Yeah.
And bring up because
So the lifting of the CDO would be water supply.
okay,
This allocation program, that's water demand.
okay, well,
And recall that the city of Monterey sent us that letter saying, hey, we'd like you to do a water supply assessment.
yeah,
There's a very good reason to do that, even absent city of Monterey's needs, which focus again on supply. So those results will go to the water supply committee as well.
good,
Because we really want to address the, we've solidly addressed the average water supply needs, but we haven't front loaded a 1-year drought or a 5-year drought and show what could happen. And there are
well, we're gonna start having,
reasons to do that.
well, we're gonna start having those discussions probably starting tomorrow. If it's, you know, we'll
Yeah, I
be
mean,
adding
it's-
on to the agenda, so,
Yeah, it would be, I think we put it on as a discussion item for
Yeah,
tomorrow. Yeah.
so we can,
And the other item that's on tomorrow is, it wasn't formed in the, as an ordinance,
yeah,
but it is
we'll
that,
talk about
that
tomorrow.
is that topic.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's get out of this meeting.
Yeah.
So we can talk.
All right. That would be it.
Is that it? Hey, close your meeting.
Right.
This is not really on the.
Yeah, I just want you
Yeah,
to
let's
close
adjourn
the
this
meeting
meeting.
out. Close your meeting out and then, no.
I thought we did. The meeting is closed. It's over, whatever time it is. It's like 2:51.
We will adjourn at 2:51.